Hi folks, in the first 5 lessons on playing backup banjo in the thumb lead 2-finger style, we focused on 2 basic patterns, the boom chick and the boom chicka. And then we also looked at various ways to enhance both of those patterns using alternating thumb, using skeletal melody notes, and also using double booms or boom booms. And then in the last lesson, we also looked at creating combination picking patterns using both the boom chick and the boom chicka. Today we're going to look at a third basic picking pattern, and that's the booma chicka. So without any other introduction, let's just get going here. When we went from the boom chick to the boom chicka, all we did is split the pinch of the boom chick into 2 successive notes in order to create the chicka. And so the ah of the chicka is an offbeat note that's played by the finger on the first string. And as a result, our musical count shifts from 1, 2, 3, 4 when we're playing the boom chick to 1, 2, and 3, 4, and when we play the boom chicka. So the ands, the offbeats, are what I call the tweener notes because they fall between the beats. To create booma chicka from boom chicka, all we're going to do is add in another offbeat note. This one's going to come after the boom, but before the chick, and once again, it's going to be played on the first string by the finger. I got a crazy little helper in the background here. She's trying to get my attention, distract me from teaching this lesson. We'll see how that goes. Where was I? Let me demonstrate boom chicka and then move into booma chicka, just playing on the G chord and keeping my thumb on the third string. So starting with boom chicka. To booma chicka. So all we're doing is adding in another offbeat note. We're not changing the basic pattern, we're just adding a note on top of the boom chicka. And as a result of this, we have a new musical count. Rather than saying 1, 2, and 3, 4, and, now we have to accommodate that extra offbeat note, so the new musical count becomes 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So in a single measure of 4/4 time, we now have 4 beats and 4 offbeats. A total of 8 notes are being played when we play the booma chicka. And let's take a moment just to reverse engineer all that to solidify the understanding of the relationship between the boom chick, the boom chicka, and the booma chicka. Let's start with the booma chicka and go to the boom chicka. And to do that, all we have to do is eliminate the offbeat note, the ah, that comes after the boom. So just take that note out, take that tweener note out, and we now have the boom chicka rather than booma chicka. And to go from boom chicka to boom chick, all we're going to do now is take the remaining offbeat note, that tweener note that comes after the chick, and move it on top of the chick so that we have a pinch on strings 5 and 1. And now we just have 4 beats and no offbeats. So boom chick in a single measure 4/4 time. So we either eliminate an offbeat or we shift the offbeat. In essence, we're eliminating offbeat and we're putting that note on the beat with the 5th string note to create a pinch. So there's a total relationship between these 3 patterns. They're not disparate from one another. They're all connected, and you can build one from the other. And that goes to that whole issue of the interchangeability I talked about in the last lesson. Well, let's work through a few examples of the booma chicka. I'll do a demonstration here going from the G chord to the C chord to the D chord back to the G chord. And I'll just keep my thumb on the 3rd string. And after I do that once and you listen to it, let's do it again and you try and play along with me in order to get the feel for this whole pattern. Again, all we're doing is adding in an offbeat note from the boom chicka, so hopefully this won't be too much of a struggle for you. But I know, I was just talking to somebody yesterday, everything's good when you're doing something with your picking fingers and you're not fretting any notes, but as soon as you throw in fretted notes or chords, it's like everything goes off the rails. If that happens, don't worry about it. The main thing, if you have to, just mute the notes here and keep the picking pattern going as we do this. That's the main thing, is get the muscle memory in your fingers here. You can work on the chords later. Okay, here we go. First a demonstration. 1, 2, 3, 4. C chord, D chord, G. Let's do that one more time. Again, try and follow along, keep the Booma Chicka pattern going. If you mess up on the chords, don't worry about it. Try and keep this going more than this going. You can work on the chords later if you need to. 1, 2, 3, 4. C, D, back to G. Want to try it again? G, to C, oops, to D, back to G. All right, a little practice with the Booma Chicka. Let's move forward and apply that to playing Will the Circle Be Unbroken. I'll just kick this off by playing Booma Chickas while backing myself up, singing the chorus to Will the Circle Be Unbroken. And once again, just like with the Boom Chick and the Booma Chicka, the thumb is free to do what it wants to do on the booms. If it wants to do alternating thumb, if it wants to go with melody notes or boom booms, it can do all that. What I'll do is just put alternating thumb on top of the Boom Chicka, so I'll just go from the 3rd string to the 4th string as I play here, so you get a feel for how that sounds. So, chorus to Will the Circle Be Unbroken with the Booma Chicka and alternating thumb. And the alternating thumb is just going to be on strings 3 and 4. 1, 2. Will the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by? There's a better home awaiting in the sky, Lord, in the sky. Well, no surprise, it worked out just fine. Once again, as long as you're on the right chord, there are no wrong notes to be played. Kept the Booma Chicka rolling right through the whole thing, and everything was good. Now, that was a lot of notes. You know, it's a steady stream of notes, 8 notes per measure, 4 beats, 4 off beats. So maybe it's a little over the top or maybe not. Depends upon what your taste and aesthetic is. Personally, I like to leave a little more space between the notes. I really do like the Booma Chicka, but I don't like constant Booma Chicka. So how would we address that? How would we put a little more space between the notes? Well, we would do it by making combination picking patterns. So let's go back to our Boom Chick, our Boom Chicka, and look at how we can combine that with the Booma Chicka. And there are really 4 different approaches we can do here. One possibility for a measure of 4/4 time is to do Boom Chick, Booma Chicka. And then another possibility is to play Boom Chicka, Booma Chicka for a measure of 4/4 time. And then we could also alternate that across 2 measures of 4/4 time, where we could play Boom Chick, Booma Chicka, and then Boom Chicka, Booma Chicka. By having 3 different picking patterns, we've got a lot of different possibilities here. And of course, those are all structured approaches. As a 4th approach, we can just take a freestyle approach and put the chickas and the boomas wherever we want to. Once again, this is all very interchangeable. We can freestyle our whole way through a song once you know the chords and you feel comfortable with playing backup. What I'll do here is sing the chorus of Will the Circle Be Unbroken, There's Echo once again, trying to help out, trying to get my attention at least. Yeah, I'm over here. So, I'm gonna sing the chorus, Will the Circle Be Unbroken, 3 times. The first time through, I'll just play boom chick, boom a chicka. The second time through, I'll play boom chicka, boom a chicka. And then the third time through, I'll just freestyle it. Let my thumb do whatever it wants to do and put the chickas where they want to go and the chicks where they want to go. Hopefully I'll stick with the program here. It's hard for me sometimes not to just go completely Pharaoh and freeform on this, but I'll try to stick to the structured approach as much as possible. All right, 3 times through. Here we go. 1, 2. Will the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by? There's a better home awaiting in the sky, Lord, in the sky. Will the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by? There's a better home awaiting in the sky, Lord, in the sky. Will the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by? There's a better home awaiting in the sky, Lord, in the sky. Well, departed from the program a couple times there and forgot what the words were for a second, but got back on track. Hopefully you get the gist of it and you heard the nuanced differences there between boom chick, boom a chicka, and boom chicka, boom a chicka, and then completely freestyle where I threw in pinches and I threw in chickas and boomas, just kind of wherever I felt like doing it. Well, there's the boom chicka with several new combination patterns. That's it for today, so let's just wrap it up and then take a look at what's coming next. The boom a chicka is a third useful picking pattern for playing backup. If we start with the boom chicka, all we have to do is add an offbeat or tweener note after the boom to create a continuous stream of beats and offbeats. So our new musical count becomes 1 and, 2 and, 3 and, 4 and. Now we have 8 notes per measure of 4/4 time, 4 beats and 4 offbeats. And the thumb is still free to play whatever it wants on the booms, whether it wants to do alternating thumb, scale the melody notes, or boom booms. It all works out with the boom a chicka, just as that did with the boom chicka and the boom chick. And then thirdly, we have the potential to combine the boom chick, the boom chicka, and the boom a chicka into several different combination patterns that are all very useful and create a nice little bit of variability when we're playing backup. Well, that finishes up the 3 basic picking patterns that I wanted to cover. In lesson 7, we'll take a look at adding ornaments, things like hammers, slides, and pulls, and how we might use those in playing backup. So until then, have fun, and as always, just keep on picking.